By the sound of it, it is that time. Once again, glad you're with us here. It is the SHOPO Hour underway. Want to remind you, Car Wash 808 Express, they can help you keep your car brilliantly clean for only $49 a month. Join up today, as many car washes as you would like, for just $49 a month. Car Wash 808 Express out in Kapolei and Waipio. And Brother Rick Price, many, many thanks. The brothers are in studio. I'm going to start off. There's a wonderful biblical story called The Prodigal Son. He has returned. Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Nick.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I got this other job called being a police officer.
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes precedence all the time. So,
yeah. If you need a note to excuse you from duty, Mark will be more than happy to sign that for you.
Oh, thank you. Right on. I didn't think of that. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll go far.
Yeah. I think the trash is just right over here. It's not far away. Brother Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Rick. Always happy and grateful to be here with you and your listeners. I wonder, does Mark use an auto pen to sign his documents?
Yeah, he uses Siri.
Does he use an auto pen? No.
ChatGPT.
Here we go. I love it. And Brother Mark Criccio, airlines must be full because you're not on one.
Yeah, no, I know. Plenty of empty seats. Happy Monday, Rick. Good to see you. Welcome back, Nick. Good to see you again. It's been a minute.
Yeah. It's been. So. I'm going to play Peaches and Herb.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play the whole song. Gents, I call this a talk story. So it's just top of mind. Whatever, everything's an open palette. But what I'll lead with is National Police Week has concluded. My commentary is that it should be National Police Month. And if it's not national, that the state of Hawaii should implement that immediately. And all of the events, and some very solemn, others celebratory, encapsulates a great deal of attention to our Honolulu Police Department. Thoughts about Police Week and more?
Well, I participated in the Memorial Walk here in Honolulu on Monday. Took my friend's son with me, so we both walked together. It was a very nice time, as always. Try to make it every year. A solemn week. We've talked about it several times. What's interesting me about National Police Week this year is the new emphasis that's being put on, I believe the president is calling it One Big Bill.
Yes.
And part of it is...
One Big Beautiful Bill.
One Big Beautiful Bill, pardon me. And part of it is an exemption for law enforcement officers so that their overtime is not taxed, which obviously benefits us financially, but I think is a wonderful idea for recruitment and retention, particularly because, obviously here in Honolulu, on the other four counties in Hawaii, with the cost of living, the other expenses that are associated with just being in Hawaii in general, although we do earn a decent wage, nationally comparative, it's okay. It doesn't cut the mustard for us being able to live here, which is one of the largest complaints of younger officers when they join the department. Is just simply, look, I can't afford to do this. I'm going to move to another municipality in another state where the pay is comparable, if not a little bit better. But my dollar just goes further in that state as far as purchasing power goes.
Yeah, the COL. COL affects everything, and I'm amazed that not one real initiative or anything emanated out of this last session. It was more about spending, funding, taxing, and doing nothing to try and mitigate our cost of living here. Brother Steve?
Yeah, Rick, just for your listeners, Police Week is usually the 11th through the 17th. There's memorial ceremonies, not only in local municipalities, but also a large one in Washington. And it's a time for reflection and remembrance of those men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice, performing their law enforcement duties to protect the public and the community that they were sworn to serve. Honolulu, I think, does a really great job with the Remembrance Walk and putting things together. I give you a lot of credit, Rick, when you talked about the whole month being a remembrance. And what I'm going to share is just something personal. It's funny you brought that up. I'm a Starbucks junkie. I go there every day. I have a routine. The baristas are fabulous. I bring Titus. We're totally welcomed. And for whatever reason, I went over to their community board, and I was just waiting for my drinks to be me-bade, and also training Titus to do the downstay. So I have this whole routine, and I looked at their board, and it was really community-centered, and I didn't realize that Starbucks as an organization designates May as Military Appreciation Month.
Yes.
And they make a big deal about that. I thought that was fabulous. I thought that was great. I said to myself, could businesses do a monthly appreciation for Police Week and kind of promote that out to the customers that come inside? And it's funny that, again, you brought that up, like, couldn't we do something for the month to show that kind of remembrance? And I said, well, Starbucks, everybody knows them. They picked May to be Military Appreciation. They had like a camouflaged background, and they put it out to whoever wanted to read that community board. Now, what they do for the military and how they show that appreciation, I don't know. And hey, good for them for that. But I said to myself, wow, if we could get businesses or whatever to just participate in a monthly event, I thought that was really special. So you're really onto something, and I don't know how that happens, but you're really onto it. And then, Nick, to your point, it's great to have you back. Wow, with that big, beautiful bill, if there was something that could be done for first responders, whether it's tax incentives or no tax on overtime, whatever they're trying to do, wow, wouldn't that be so appreciative and so powerful? I couldn't be happier if that actually passes. And again, it ties in, Rick, with if you're going to be effective, if you're going to be a perfect. Let me back up. You want to have an effective, well-run police department with good morale, and is going to, an ideal situation, you're going to have the community supporting the police department. And Starbucks planted their flag and said, we're going to support the military for the month of May, which I thought was great. I said, wow, couldn't businesses get in that and do that? And anyway, so you and I are kind of lockstep with that. I was just thinking about that, and good on you, Nick, for bringing up that bill, because I hope it does get through.
Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah.
Brother Mark.
I'm going to mirror what you said earlier. I'm just like, why is it only a week? Why don't we have at least a month? I mean, it's been like that for so long. But, to me, we as a community, right, we should constantly recognize the men and women who put on that uniform and what they go through day after day, and especially the ones that made the ultimate sacrifice. It should be all year long recognizing these men and women, And I honestly feel this way. I think majority of politicians are just lip service, because they would do something about supporting the men and women in law enforcement. To me, it's just lip service on their part. If you really care about the men and women of law enforcement, well, do something about it instead of just talking in a speech. Right.
Would there be a counter to that at all with hazard pay authorizations and ensuring that our men and women were compensated during COVID time, or is that just a blip on the overall radar?
I would just say it's just overall.
Okay.
Because let's face it, COVID's one of them. This big negotiation with the city. These guys should have been paid out last year. It's ridiculous. These politicians say, "Oh yeah, the police deserve it. The police deserve it." Okay, well then pay them. What is this big negotiation? Give it to them. It's in their contract. It's in the union contract that police officers are entitled to hazard pay. It's not like there's no hazard pay in the contract. Sorry. So these guys should have been paid out a long time ago. But besides that, all these raises, like every single time these guys go to do a new contract, majority of the time, and I'm pretty sure these guys could attest to this, the city's always arguing, oh no, you guys don't deserve that much money. Give these guys the money they deserve, and benefits, right? They've cut benefits years ago, and it's huge. It's huge for actually recruitment also. You got to get those benefits back. I know there was talk about it a few years back, but all of a sudden it fizzled out, getting the benefits back to the way it used to be. You know?
I think Susan, Chief Ballard,
She was trying for
was
it.
trying to do that.
Yeah.
I remember her on the air when she had
Yeah.
mentioned that.
So, but I mean, I don't know union wise how it could be done, but you know, the state and the city need to get their heads together and get these police officers the benefits they deserve. You know.
So I'm not, if you can't answer, and I'm not casting any aspersions, but in negotiations, is there a lowballing that happens from the city's side? And I mean that by saying, is there not an incremental? Is it a battle to keep things status quo? And is there, finally, is there an arbitrator that will ultimately make the decision? Nick?
Yes, so starting backwards, in this particular circumstance, this current contract negotiation, yes, an arbitrator will make a binding decision. Is it a back and forth? Yes, it is. Is it typical for the employers to lowball? Yes. Is it typical for the employers to want to go backwards? Occasionally. Occasionally. I'm not saying that for this particular contract negotiation process, but I have seen it. Yeah.
Wow. Steve, thoughts? And I'll turn the volume down on your mic. No, I know. I'm just kidding.
As we highlighted, Rick, you and I, when we were together a couple weeks ago, we are now going to need to present our case to an individual arbitrator. The employer side will present their case, and clearly we have different thoughts and opinions on what our members should make and on for cost items and for non-cost things. And that arbitrator, that individual has the power and authority then to make a decision and give a ruling that's going to affect our membership for the next several years for this contract.
And it's binding.
It's final and if whatever this individual decides at the end is what we're going to need to work with over the next several years. Now, in a perfect situation, Rick, wouldn't it have been wonderful if Nick, myself, Bobby, the rest of the state board came in and we said, hey, employer, we're looking for this. We think it's reasonable. Here's our reasons why. Can we make this work? We were light years apart, and that's why we're moving forward that way. And everything Nick said is accurate as far as previous things coming in. And, you know, I love Mark because he's so passionate and he still cares even though he's retired. And it goes to show you that just because you're a retired law enforcement doesn't mean you ever really leave the profession. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate his passion because I sit next to him. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we had some people in elective office just say, hey, let's get these guys. I know it's not that simple, and I don't mean to just paint everything with it. Let's get our people paid. Does it make sense? Let's not nickel and dime this to death. Let's make it work. You know, Rick, and that would be wonderful. But we're not there yet. So we're going to move forward and put the best argument forward that we can, present our case, so to speak, with professionals. And again, just for your listeners to understand, we have economists. We're bringing in these, we'll call them subject matter experts, to justify our position. And they're going to present really a case. It's kind of like a trial. This is what we got, and here's where we're coming from. And then the employer group is going to, and remember now, because we represent all the counties, you have leadership within human resources and corp counsel attorneys from Maui, the Big Island, Kauai, and Honolulu. So they come in, and then we're there, and we work something out.
The one thing that's unique, because just as a layman, and we cite other union negotiations, that you do not have the leverage that others do. And that is striking.
You're 100% correct. Other labor organizations have the ability to stop performing their work. Mm-hmm. Now, however you feel about that is how you feel about that. But they can basically tell management we're not doing. Now, to their point, there's ample notice given before people walk off the job. Let's just give that as a disclaimer.
Sure.
There's notice given, and the employer can make arrangements. But yes, we cannot stop working to assist with getting our, let's say, demands met. We have to keep going. And again, to Bobby's credit, leading the ship with our team, with me, Nick, and the rest of the state board, we are not putting ourselves in a position where this contract is expired for a year and we're working for a year without a contract. This board, led by Bobby, from the get-go, has said, no. Our contract ends June 30th. We want to get a new contract in place as soon as possible. We're not going to push this thing back until September of 2026 or whatever it is. We're not going to wait a year. We want to be at the table. We want to have this resolved, and we want to have a new contract coming shortly after the old one, this current one we have expired.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
7:26 in the morning, and thank you for sharing. But I'm going to turn to a retired major to get your take on this. And by the way, Steve, if you need to pull his microphone, just right at the base of the stand. Thoughts?
You better pull my microphone. No, it's just that's just the way it's set up, the arbitration process, and it's very frustrating for the membership. It really is, But there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of behind the scenes that the membership doesn't see, right? And it's frustrating on their part because they don't know what's going on. And then, to the union's credit, they can't say anything. They're bound to say nothing for these negotiations, right? And this arbitration process. So there's a lot of frustration during this period also. So the public doesn't see that either. There's a lot of frustration on both sides. So,
do you believe that this will be resolved end of next month?
So there is a timeline schedule, and we've posted it to our membership.
Okay.
We will be in arbitration very soon. Unfortunately, because of the schedule that the employers have, it's going to have to be broken up into two parts. But within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll be attending the arbitration sessions, and I believe the last one that we should have would be in September.
So, and as a lay person, and trying to emulate what's happening with our friends who are dialed in, there's probably speculation as to what would be the logjam. Financial, benefits, disciplinary process, procedures. It runs the gamut, because a contract isn't simply, this is how much you make a year for the next 3 years, and we'll come back to it again. There are many intimations involved in a binding contract. It's a process that can be laborious. And that's at 7:29 in the morning. I whipped out the word laborious.
Don't ask me. I know what it means, but just don't ask me to spell it. I'll be like LABORIOUS, EOUS,
MOUSE. And there we go. Thank you, gentlemen. Final thought before we take a break, bottom of the hour news. Final thought on what we've been conversing about.
Just real quick, again, just to educate the listeners, we go in and we look at cost items and non-cost items. So that's the kind of the big picture, and then we work in from there, cost, non-cost.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for this. And again, the SHOPO Hour is underway, delightfully so. Brothers are in studio and will return literally in a moment. But now, hey there. Sorry, we were having a chat during the break. I want to welcome you back. It is News Radio 830 KHVH. It is the Rick Amato program, and the SHOPO Hour remains underway. I do want just a quick, because it's coming up soon, I want to make sure I get the right info, is that coming up with Next Genesis, it is, oh boy, is it right around the corner. A free seminar, March 26th, 5 p.m., for the first 60 people to RSVP. Oh, this is the month of May. Let's not tell them about March and how good that was. Let's talk about the ones that are coming up. and they are coming up soon. Next Genesis Healthcare, I've been sharing with you for ages now, and the reason why is because of the impact that it's had on me, and I'm prayerful that it's going to have an impact on you as well. And lots of local people are healing with stem cells. It's just working that. As a matter of fact, Next Genesis has increased the size of their clinic to accommodate all the folks that are seeking relief. And again, May 21st, May 22nd, limited seating at both dates. Log on to and email Kaylee, Kayle, at nextgenesishealthcare.com or call 808-583-3032. And if you're sick of addicting painkillers and taking all kinds of medicine, this is the time where you can learn more. It's all Q&A. Once again, May 21st, May 22nd, either one you choose. Kaylee at nextgenesishealthcare.com. Man, that's going to be a great event. And the one in March was too. 7:37 in the morning. I'm just going to say one word and toss it, and that is recruitment of what's been going on lately, what you believe the status is, feedback that you've heard in the community, or maybe even some ideas on how to really step things up, if you will.
Well, I believe the last class just graduated was at 21, right? Oh, that's not going to do it, man. You got to get big classes. 21 is, I don't know. I don't even know what the retirement was last year, how many guys left. But I'm going to tell you a story I had a couple weeks ago. I went with a friend of mine. We had to go to the Kailua Refuse Center, help them dump some stuff over there, right? So we're in line, we're waiting, and then I guess in the front there's they hire a security company, and the person just checks you in to go up and do your dump stuff. And this particular person, she was a young woman, right? And I look over and I go, "Why are you security guard? Why aren't you join HPD?" And her answer was like, threw me back, because she said, "There's a reason they're over 400 positions short. I did my research." I'm like, whoa. So I didn't have much time because there was guys behind us, so we had to go. But one of the things she did say was benefits and opportunity. So I thought that was really interesting. So people, they're not just putting applications in to just get a job. They're researching what their benefits are and what the advancement's going to be for them in the job. And for HPD, there's a lot of competition out there. Think about it. You got the feds, you got the state, you even have the private sector, right? So to me, one of the, and I mentioned it just earlier, one of the biggest things you need to do is you need to bring those benefits back that they lost years ago, right?
And what were they? Again, just to remind us.
So you got to go back to the high 3 retirement, and you need to have your overtime put into your retirement. So right now, the newer guys come in. If they work overtime pay, it does not go into their retirement, right? I think their retirement is based on a high 5 base pay, right? And from what I understand, it's 30 or 60, right? And before it was 25 years or 55 years old, you could retire, right? And I think a huge one is when you retire now, your spouse is not covered under your benefits, where beforehand, like when I came in, your spouse would be, right? That's huge, right? So just so small little things. Because I know people that left the department just for benefits in the future, right? So I thought it was really interesting, though, that she said, "Oh, I did my research." I'm like, wow. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe you can help address, since we're reviewing contractually, of your thoughts about the status of benefits. I'm not that well versed, so I don't really want to comment. But I will say that when the institution of the 3-day week was implemented, as a layperson, I thought that was remarkable. to be able to have that pace so you could have the extra time for reparation and relationships and all that entails, or earning more if you were so inclined. So, Steve, the status today.
Oh, Rick. So let me try to unpack a couple of things,
Okay.
if you'll let me. Let me first touch on recruitment. I think the biggest thing when it comes to recruitment in all the counties is that there is a transparent and very open admission that we are not okay. I think you do a disservice to the community when you say, oh yeah, we're 450 cops short, but we're good. It's not affecting anything. Nothing to see here. Come on now. Don't do that. And you might say, well, Steve, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is, let's not pretend that being short doesn't affect us. I've listened to your program. I've heard some things that were said, and I don't tell the community that being short officers doesn't have an impact or there's nothing to see here. And don't make a claim like, well, you know, you need to do this job for the right reasons and money has nothing to do with it. No, don't talk like that. Okay? The union's responsibility is to not recruit. However, as you know, we come on your show every week and advocate and hopefully, again, represent the men and women that wear the uniform. And we've said, hey, listen, if you want to come and try, we're trying to do it. So when it comes to recruitment, Rick, let's have an open conversation that it is a crisis, okay? Now, I'm not saying that police administrators aren't doing as much as they can. That's not what I'm talking about. But first, there needs to be an honest conversation that it is a crisis, and we can give the disclaimer that it's in agencies in the mainland as well, and it's not just here, okay? But I don't want to hear any talk that, oh, yeah, operations aren't affected. Well, excuse me, but if you're 400, if you have hundreds of vacancies, how could operations not be affected? So stop it with that. That actually pisses me off. Just be honest. Don't think it's about you. Just be honest and communicate, and let's come up with some solutions. Now, let's talk about the benefits real quick. The county workers, we're a city and county police department, but our retirement is at the state level, and that's unique. Okay, we are tied into the employee retirement system. We work for the city and county. Our members work for the county of Maui, the county of Kauai, and Big Island. But our retirement system is not paid by the county. The retirement system is paid by the state. So when Mark talks about bringing certain benefits back, we have to get elected state representatives to choose to introduce a bill to get those benefits back that were taken away. And ERS fights us at every turn. The people at the state with the retirement say this fund, it's underfunded, and we can't be refunded for 40 years. The other challenge that we have, Mark, just to keep you guys in the loop is, let's just say we bring the benefits back. And let's just say that if you come in and you want to work for one of our county PDs, let's just say the retirement gets changed back to 25 years, okay? Or 55. Well, here's the problem. Our members that were hired from 2012 on signed a contract locking them into the 30 and 60. So what's going to happen then? If you start it with the new people, which again, that's a fight that we're willing to do. We take it on every year, but we need politicians to bring that up. Okay. We have members that are currently working under different terms, and it's unlikely that the state is going to allow them to revert to something new. So now we're in a kind of a quandary of, wait a minute, you're going to give new people better benefits, let's say, than cops that are already working. So this is kind of a little 360 degree view of this. Now you might say, well, Steve, you can't just come here and say we have a recruitment problem without creating a solution. Okay, Well, I'm not in a position I don't have the power and authority to navigate recruitment, but I can tell you right now, it starts with benefits. It starts with making a wage. I came on your show a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We are statistically underpaid from our counterparts on the West Coast. That's a fact. Police cops that work in California, that work in Washington, that work on states that are close to us, make more money than we do. Okay? What's a good start? Let's try to work on compensation. How does that work? If we can get support, great. And again, Rick, it's not about the money. I'm not sitting here saying that, cops just want money. We just want to maybe be able to buy a house. We're looking, how are we going to pay for daycare? Just, can we serve the community in a profession that we want and get paid enough to actually to live here? And you brought up things like cost of living, and you did a great job on all those other things. And I don't mean to ramble, Rick, but when it comes to recruitment, stop this narrative of there's nothing to see here, keep moving, there's no problem, services aren't affected. Who's going to believe that? And then when you take that position, you lose credibility.
Nick?
I think there's a big difference between acknowledgement of a problem and admission of a problem. I think that Arthur Logan constantly acknowledges that there's a staffing issue in the Honolulu Police Department, but I don't see him as an advocate ever having admitted that there is a staffing problem in the Honolulu Police Department. And I often find from my union experience, and I'm speaking as a union official here, I often find from my union experience that when this staffing issue is revealed to entities that can actually do something about it or push the chief of police to do better and the police department to do better, such as the police commission, those entities simply fall back on, yeah, there's a problem, isn't there? It's infuriating to me as a union official to see the department go to a police commission meeting and say, the staffing shortage is up to 460 now. And you have a commissioner like Keogh Naga say, yeah, but you guys have always been short, right?
Oh, my God.
When I started in the department, we were about 200 people short. Now it's doubled and then some. You're looking about 460, right? What point do you get to when you actually say, you know what, I've got to actually do something about this, and I'm going to start informing the public on a regular basis that there's a problem here, and I'm going to start advocating for this department with legislators, with politicians, with the police commission, with the mayor, that all of these things that we've just discussed are huge problems, and they need to be dealt with immediately because our officers can't do their job properly. The departments can't service the public the way they could if they had the correct amount of officers. And we can't get people to join. And by the way, why are legislators introducing ridiculous pieces of legislation like House Bill 277, which is sitting on the governor's desk for signature at this point in time, completely overregulating police pursuits when every county in the state already has an extremely robust police pursuit policy? Those are the types of situations that incumbent officers look at and go, what is going on here? Why am I doing this? I signed up to catch the bad guy the right way, not have a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about tell me how to do my job. And it leads to people like that security guard that the major just mentioned looking at this picture and going, I'd like to help you out, but if you're going to tie my hands, I'd rather go do it somewhere else. Thank you.
Yep.
It is 7:50 in the morning. The SHOPO Hour will continue in just a moment. I'd like to welcome you back to the SHOPO Hour and minutes remaining until the top. And I want to thank our brothers for joining us and engaging in a talk story, which, based on the content of this last one, we'll never do it again. No, just kidding.
We're all fired.
I am praying the microphones are not on. In all seriousness, I thank you for sharing, because the public, we have to wrestle with the realities without being in any position whatsoever of knowledge, understanding, even comprehension. But even we can figure out, when you have numbers that are deficient, that it does have a net effect on the mission at large. But the machinations behind it we're not aware of. So I want to thank you boys for sharing. With just about 5 minutes left, I'm going to do a tour around the room and take whatever time you deem necessary. At 7:55 in the morning, I'll start with Brother Nick, as always, and anything else on the table that you would like to share, any summation of our conversation now, or is there any other issues? And by the way, the DUI checkpoints, they were up for graduation weekend and Memorial Day's coming up. Will it just be a constant increased level of DUI checkpoints?
I'm not familiar with how many are going to be done in the future, but I would say as a motorist, you should expect them, and you should always drive responsibly. Tying into our conversation from a moment ago, we only have a couple of minutes left. I don't think that any first responder agency out there that knew that it was in peril with its staffing would just be completely dismissive of the situation and say, no, it's okay, we're going to be okay, don't worry about it. It's not impacting services. It's not impacting our ability to help you out. Our job is to help out. And that intrinsically relies on how many people we have. There's a direct correlation there. If you don't have enough people, or as many people as you should, your ability to affect the situation diminishes. The constituents, who are listening, would probably get extremely mad if they found out that EMS was short 20% of its staff and heard an EMS director say, no, but it's all good. Don't worry about it. We're working on it. No, they demand answers, and they'd want an action plan, and they would be hitting up their politicians immediately to say, I want you to bring this back up to correct levels, because I want insurance that when I call for an ambulance, you're going to show up and you're going to take care of those wounded people. But for some odd reason, this is just being glossed over, I think, unfortunately, locally. And I'd like to see better advocacy for it, much better advocacy for it. And I do think that it starts at the top of every department, not just in Honolulu, but in all 4 counties.
Understand. Thank you, Nick. Brother Steve.
Yeah, Rick, when we come on and we have this talk story together, we're coming from a good place where we simply want to make your listeners feel more connected with the men and women that wear the uniform. Mm-hmm. And wherever the stories go, wherever the topics go, we just follow your lead and we go there. We don't come here with an agenda. We're not trying to throw mud at anybody. We just want to communicate sincerely, effectively, and truthfully the things that our members are dealing with in all the counties. And when it comes to recruitment, compensation, these are things that directly affect the cops that wear the uniform. We're here to advocate on their behalf, and we're happy to discuss everything from public safety to the compensation to just make them feel more connected with the membership. And I just want to thank your members for the continued support. Nobody calls the police when they're having a good day. Okay? We accept that. That's a role we take. When we get support from members in the community, it goes a long way. Sometimes it's the little things, and we appreciate the continued support from your listeners with the work that we do. Thank you, brother.
That. Thank you very much indeed. Brother Mark, got about 15, 20 seconds.
Okay, real fast then. Number one, for a police commissioner to say that, you always work short, I think is disgraceful, number one. Number two, I'd like to have some of these politicians either come in or come on your show to justify their position on their bills and some of these things that, like bail reform and all that crap that they're trying to push through the legislature. Come and justify it to us. And number three, Police Week, but let's remember these people all year long.
On that note, gentlemen, Brother Mark, Brother Steve, Brother Nick, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you, brother.
Memorial Day.